Hi, I'm Chris Hawkins, and today we're going to take a look at using Trimble Field Points in Revit to drop a few points into the model. Okay, so we're in Revit 2018. The add-in applies, I believe, all the way back to Revit 2016, possibly 2015. And just to note, this add-in is also available for AutoCAD users as well. So we'll quickly jump over to actually creating these points. You'll see there's a few kind of hierarchies here as far as the field point entity itself. It comes with a whole series of tags. I mean, we've got about 7 or 8 in here. Some that are 3D, some that are just 2D. You can actually create categories however you want to organize this to basically filter down and kind of group these existing entities. Whether you might create a 2D and a 3D category, and just when you click on 3D, only the 3D will display. Just another way to help you organize things. You get into your description and group and placement, whether you're going to place it or not. Grouping is just another way of kind of filtering through what the description is going to be. We've got starting point numbers depending on where your prefix. Again, you have the ability to set a prefix or a suffix and what that point number is going to be. Whether here we're placing manual points, so it says starting point, where we're really just going to be placing one at a time. And then you can have a series of attributes down here, whatever you want it to be to apply to your particular need for that project. And then, depending on how we're placing these, we can place it at the work plane. If we're selecting an object at its snap elevation. If for some reason we want to base everything at a certain elevation above the plane, or whether or not we want to force everything at a fixed elevation if we don't want things to hop in the Z direction based on what we're picking. So for right now, I'll just leave this as test. I won't worry about doing anything else in here. We're really just looking at points right now. So I'll hit place, and we can just come in and you can free place anywhere. You can place on any snap element that's in your project. And simply by doing that, we can exit out of the command. We can take a look at field point properties. I can select one of those points, finish, and then here's that information. There's the coordinates of that point within the project. That was the first one that we input. That's the elevation within our project. And you start seeing the information that I showed you in the setup settings are now integrated into that point. Say OK to that. And take a look at another type of input mechanism. We can input over place tray. Actually, let me show you grid points real quick, because this is one of the big benefits of field points is placing points, a lot of points very quickly. Let's change our point symbol entity. We'll call it a square X. I've changed this description to just be like column center lines. And you have the option to decide how these points are going to be numbered relative to your grid, top to bottom, left to right, serpentine, whatever you want. We'll just leave this as the first option right now. We'll hit place, and all you simply have to do is select one of the column grids, and it goes out and looks at the extent of your project for where all the grids exist, and we'll then go back through and add these points to the column intersections everywhere. I believe that was probably added like 75 some points in a couple of seconds. So just that example alone shows you how quick and easy this is to add points to your project. We'll look at place tracing points right now. Again, we can come in, select whatever type of symbol we want, and whether we're going to place a single point with offset, a double point. So this really starts looking at potentially what you're tagging. If we can place like the face of a wall, but maybe we might want to offset that off to the center of the wall. So depending on what the thickness of the wall is, you would set the offset. Or if you had a system that actually had a center line built in, you would just maybe select the actual center line. We'll look at the single point right now. We can select the elevation of where we want this to go. And now we'll take a look at how we're going to trace this. I'm going to place this at intermediate points, or I can just say I'm going to place it at every pick point. If I kind of know how I want those points to be generated, we'll leave this at 0 millimeters and at every pick point. So now as I hit place, I can come down here and just say I'm going to face of the wall or face the end of mullion, door opening, center, mullion in between, and back, and so on and so forth on down the line. Let's go to the next step here. We can place points over a family, and familiar with how families work within Revit or just blocks in AutoCAD, this can be a very beneficial data entry. So I can select a family, and let's come over here and just use one of these single doors. So it's actually telling me the family that I'm going to place this over, and I'm going to now just place it over the insertion point. Click place. Well, I'm telling it what the insertion point is. And then finish. That's the insertion point for that door. So after we have all of these points in the project, next step, if you actually wanted to push this out for, again, use by a total robotic station to place these points and shoot these points out in the field, we can export this out to FieldLink. It'll come back in and asks us, do we want to select specific points, or again, I'm just going to say select all from current view. Again, it's going to come back through and tell us the total number of points that are in our project, and then it's going to give us a further breakdown as to there were manual points created, there were tracing points created, there were grid points created, there were points over the path created. I can choose all or none, what are individual groups, point types. And as I get through exporting things, it's going to start keeping track of what has been exported. Do I want to export it again? What layers do I want to put these points on when I export them? Because when you get into the field, you have the ability to sort through these points through the user interface, so you're not looking at all the points at one time. I come down to the bottom of this dialog to select my CAD entities. So you're not only have the opportunity to push out points, you have the opportunity to push out the actual CAD geometry, so you can analyze these points in relationship to actual project geometry. I can select background entities, I can select all from the current view. So if I just wanted to spit out everything the way this view shows, I can just select all. It's going to push this out to wherever I'm going to push it, network, local machine, whatever, and I can hit OK on that, and that'll push out. So that's all for today on Trimble Field Points. If you'd like to learn more, please contact your local BuildingPoint rep or check out our YouTube channel. Thanks again.